We have a quick one.
Yeah, I suppose. I'm not sure how quick this is going to be, but we can certainly try.
We'll try.
Science, of course. I learned you're not supposed to use water to put out a fire in the kitchen if you're cooking with grease, because the fire will jump out and spread. Why does the fire and grease react that way to water?
Because this has to do with the fact that oil is not soluble in water, right? Yeah, so oil and water don't mix. And essentially the idea here is that water is polar. Water has a positive and a negative side, and oil is nonpolar. So I'm sure most people have seen maybe when you put just oil and water, or even like oil and vinegar if you're eating bread maybe at an Italian restaurant. Maybe that's a stretch. But when you put oil in water, the oil clumps together because the oil is non-magnetic and the water is magnetic. And so the oil and the water can't really attach to each other. So the oil all globs together so that the oil is touching the water, the smallest amount of oil is touching the water, just the stuff on the outside. So the oil would prefer to get into big globs. Grease you can cook in with in the kitchen is very hot. The molecules are moving very fast. If you were to, and I've done this before and it's not pretty, take a pan full of super hot oil and turn on the sink, put it under the sink, you have all these water molecules that are hitting all this really fast-moving grease molecules, and what you essentially get is an explosion as the grease molecules try to get away from the water molecules, try to attach with each other, but they're moving at this high speed. And that can create a reaction strong enough to start a grease fire, essentially, to ignite the carbon chains in the grease.
So don't do it.
Don't do it.
So don't do it.
No.
Science says.
Science says. Do what science says.
What should you use instead?
You should wait for the grease to cool down.
Wait for the grease to cool down. Mm-hmm. Or
you can also dump out the grease into something. So like in kitchens that are moving very fast, they'll sometimes have like a grease container, some way to siphon the grease off. In big kitchens, they're working with all kinds of stuff. Okay. But at your house, if you need to use that pan for something else, if you have like what I use for bacon grease, if I'm going to cook eggs in that pan, I'll put the bacon grease. I'll put a soda can or a soup can that's open. I'll cut off the top of the soda can and then just pour the really hot grease into this empty container and wait for it to cool down there and then reuse. But essentially what you want to do is cool down the grease before you dispose of it.
Makes sense.
Mm-hmm.
Makes a lot of sense. That's what I do. So I guess I'm doing it right. Yes.
She's doing it right.
All right.